Hello everyone, Tibbers here and welcome back to another one of my videos. Today I am joined by the amazing artist and voiceover artist Avalon Delaney as we talk about some of their work that they have done for Poppy Playtime and Mob Entertainment. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this interview. Welcome in everybody. Today I am joined by the lovely Avalon. Avalon, if you could please introduce yourself and let us know what your preferred pronouns are.
Hi, I'm Avalon. CosmicCosmo is my Twitter handle, but I'm also looking to change it actually soon to Gibble Gabble. I am a lady, so I use she, her pronouns. And yeah.
Gibble Gabble. I love that.
Yeah, I like it. I just came to me one time and I'm like, I like that. I want to change it now.
I love things that are endearing and silly like that. So I love that so much. It's perfect. Just to kick this off, what inspired you to become, a voiceover artist, an animator, and a conceptual artist? It feels like you're like a bundle of all these amazing things.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of things that I've kind of gotten into growing up, but I think something perhaps that connects them all when I think about it is just the things I was into growing up. So, for example, like I perhaps like storyboarding because, when I was young, I would kind of like take my like plushy dolls. I also was huge into like Littlest Pet Shops and I'd have my phone when like iMovie was relevant and I'd like record little movies with my like plushes and my littlest pet shops. And when I think about it, I'm like, oh, like that's probably where I got my love for more like, like story, like, making kind of like plots or visually. I always liked drawing. I think just maybe the difference is a lot of people at like after young ages kind of grow out of kind of like a drawing phase, but
Hmm.
I was just always interested in drawing, so I never grew out of it. But specifically, voice actor, animator, conceptual artist, I took like theater in school. So I was already doing a little bit of acting, and it was really weird because I don't really know why I threw myself into theater
Hmm.
because I was extremely shy. I'm still shy now, but I was even worse back then. I don't know, I just thought I'd give it a shot, but I always kind of preferred more of like the voice acting part of theater. And I didn't really like process that voice acting was a thing
Hmm.
until later. Like that's something you could actually get into. So I don't know, like I guess like doing theater kind of trickled down later into getting into voice acting, but getting into voice acting has had been like kind of me dabbling into it at like 19 years old.
Hmm.
So it's still like fairly like 5 years recent.
I feel like we're
Um,
very similar in that way. Just because, like, I also, I when I was little, I knew like music was my thing. I loved to sing. I loved to act. I'm like, this is what I want to
mhm.
do. But I also just like when I got to my teen years, got really into anime and just like really into like trying to mimic other voices. So I really got into it that way. And I'm also extremely shy too. Most people would not know that, but I'm also very shy. But I really just getting on the stage allows me to become another person. It allows me to turn off that introvert and become an
Yeah,
extrovert, and it's
yeah.
freeing.
Definitely. It's like you're putting on a whole different character and like I feel like there's still things that I'm trying to figure out like I'm still a little self-conscious about like some things about my voice or just like my person in general, but I think that's probably a point of what led me to like being a voice actor is kind of like you get to like put on a mask and be a whole different character if you
Mhm.
wanted to and like become that character, and I feel like that felt really fun for me.
I love that so much. So on top of being, a voice actor, and we discussed like you have so many other skills such as being an animator. Tell me what ultimately like led you down this path. What made you say that this is what I want to do?
So I do a little bit of animation, but I don't feel like at least in terms of like 2D animation, I don't really feel like I have too huge of an animation history. So like usually I don't label like kind of put the label of animator in the forefront kind of my career, but I have done a lot of 3D layout, which is kind of like a phase in 3D animation where you're kind of like setting up the cameras and the key poses for animation, the animation stage to work with. It's kind of like storyboarding, but for 3D.
Okay.
Um, but me and my siblings like entirely grew up on animated movies. There's still like a lot of live action stuff today that I'm like just getting into where people are like, "What? You've never watched X, Y, or Z?" And I'm like, "No, I never watched live action anything." So I think me and my brothers just really, really enjoyed animation growing up. And I don't think we like lost the vision of us wanting to like do something with animation. So again, it was just kind of like a hyper obsession that never really went away and then ended up taking up our jobs.
I feel that because even now today, like I'm seeing Wicked later, and that's mostly just
Mhm.
because I've read the books. I was a fan of the musical, and just in general, I love musicals. But if I go to the movies, I'm usually seeing something animated. I prefer
Yeah.
watching animated films. I don't know, they just take me back to a happier time. They're silly. You can do so much more in animation that you can do in live action, in my personal opinion,
Yeah.
that really drives a story home.
Yeah. And like for me, I also get like more excited when I see trailers for animated movie. Like today I was like, okay, Bad Guys 2 is coming out and I didn't get to watch it, but there was a recent movie called like it's like about some kind of robot, but it just came out, but I didn't get to watch it,
The
but I
Wild
do want
Robot.
to watch. Yeah, that one. But I'm so aware when like 3D movies are coming out, but I'm not very that way. Even now with like live action movies, I usually have to be introduced by like somebody else to like recommend it to me for me to watch it.
Yeah, I would say the same. That's how I got into Doctor Who. Was I never was like a big, space adventure type person.
Mhm.
Because I'd seen Star Wars. It's okay. I've seen Star Trek. Meh. But
Yeah.
someone showed me Doctor Who, and it clicked. Like that's one of the very few like live action shows that I
Yeah.
enjoy. But animation all the way. And if you do get a chance to see the Wild Warbot, just like bring a box of tissues with you because you're gonna cry. It's so good.
Oh, I'm an easy crier. I will probably cry.
Same, same. Someone gifted me some art recently, and I just bawled like a little baby.
Oh no.
So
Well. Mhm.
before becoming this amazing person that you are, did you
Mhm.
have any other different life plans, or did you know that this is what you wanted to do as a career? Like for me, I wanted to go into meteorology and be a storm chaser, but
Oh. Cool.
I just last minute made a career change and decided to go into musical theater, and it was like I'm not even doing that now. I'm working in cybersecurity, but like, just
Oh.
like what were there any other things that in your life that maybe go, I might want to be a doctor or something?
So the only thing that I could think of was like kind of like being a vet because I really liked animals. So I'm like if I could like work like around animals, like that would be perfect for me. But I mean growing up I just always I was more of like a traditional artist ever before I was ever like kind of I like went for voice acting or anything. And I knew like I was really interested in that. And like kind of when high school came up and especially in like the last 2 years, they really start digging in on like what college you want to go to, what is going to be your entire career for the rest of, your life. And I'm like, "Oh, like I don't feel like I thought about that at all. Like I don't feel like I was thinking about my future." But again, I did want to draw, but then it's like, I'd kind of hear, the classic line perhaps from like the parent on but you'll be a starving artist, they don't make much money, you probably don't want to do that. And it's just like, so I was kind of torn because like I really did want to do something like artsy, like I really did, but then it's like in the back of my mind it's like that doesn't make money, you want something different. And I'm like, but I don't want anything different. But it ended up really working out and I'm really blessed to be where I am today.
That's amazing, and it really shows, especially when you have those moments of someone saying, are you sure you want to do this? Because some people just don't become successful in this industry, but
Hmm.
you have. You and your siblings have, and I think
Yeah.
that it really shows. It really does show.
I'm really grateful to be where I am today with what I've been able to accomplish. But that was it.
So I'm gonna segue into a few Poppy Playtime questions for you now. So
Okay.
you have many roles that you have played as part of the Poppy Playtime universe. Do you have a
Uh-huh.
favorite one of them out of all of them?
Uh, like favorite one that I voiced, or more like maybe the character themselves. Like,
How about both?
uh, okay. I think like my brain keeps saying like pick hoppy, pick hoppy, pick hoppy hopscotch. So I think I probably just have to say hoppy hopscotch because my brain is telling me to. But I kind of I really do kind of like more like tomboyish characters, so I think that is why I lean toward hoppy hopscotch. I also really like crafty too. I'd probably say for like both kind of character and like voicing for them, it'd probably be one of those two, most likely.
And you have such a great range for the characters as well that you've played. Tell me, which one of them do you feel was a bigger challenge?
Uh-huh. I think the character that was my biggest challenge was Miss Delight. Not like necessarily that her voice was very challenging for me to do, or that her like character type was really weird, but I think it was more so like mentally a bigger challenge for me. Like I did audition for her along with like other character roles for chapter 3, including Ollie. I really actually wanted Ollie in the beginning.
Mhm.
um I didn't really expect to actually be chosen as her voice actress. So even though it was a cool opportunity, I before that I'd never really played any major like I guess like mature voiced characters before, where I feel like a lot of my like type casting would be more kind of for like kids or maybe wacky sounding characters or tomboys. So I was really afraid that I wouldn't be able to do Miss Delight justice with the voice that I had for what I believed. And I was kind of also afraid to get like comments perhaps afterwards of like, why does Miss Delight sound like a child or something like that? Like I was kind of, it was a good opportunity, but I'm like, I really hope I can nail this off. But then to my surprise, when the game came out, a lot of people only had like really nice things to say about like her appearance and in game and her performance. And from that opportunity, I actually think it gave me like a boost of confidence about my own voice. I think now I'm more interested actually in searching out opportunities with ranges that like maybe in the beginning I kind of like wouldn't audition for because I was thinking, my voice didn't fit that, but I think I'm more open to like experimenting things that I've never tried before.
That's really cool to hear. I think, you know, when people think of chapter three, they immediately go to catnap, but I immediately go to that section with Miss Delight, and mostly because I remember playing it for the first time, and it took me almost 3 hours to get through.
No,
It was the most
no,
stressful moment of my life, and everyone could just see it because I streamed it live on Twitch, and it was so chaotic. But you really stood out as that character. You really really did. And talking to you now and hearing your voice and being like, oh, you also played Miss Delight. You can hear that range, and so you did a phenomenal job. You really did.
thank you so much. With like kind of because I was a part of playtesting as well. So I did get to playtest her level like on like really earlier on. But it was always like easier to do it until like, the animation started getting really rendered and she actually started to get scary. Then I'm like, I think I'm gonna drop out of playtesting because I'm too scared to play this now. Um, but then later I did go back and complete the game.
I love that. I love those moments in games though where you're just so terrified that you don't know what to do. There was one section of chapter 3 that honestly got me the most, and that was during the first nightmare sequence when you go into Home Sweet Home, and
Hmm.
at the end of the hallway where you see what might be the character's office in that big window. I approach it and you can kind of still hear catnap purring in the background, and
Yeah.
I sat there on stream for about 10 minutes going, I cannot turn around because there's going to be something behind me. I can't do a chat. And then someone finally was like, I swear to God, Tibbers, if you don't turn around, this game's not going to continue.
Yeah, I actually like I'm terrified of like playing horror games. like I kind of like horror movies. I do have like a limit of how scary it can be until I'm like, okay, I can't watch that anymore.
Yeah.
But like horror games is so much more scary to me, and like so I actually like as much as I'm interested, I'm so scared of like actually playing horror games.
I'm the same way. Like, I love mascot horror games, and I think that's mostly just because we're talking about animation and stuff, and
Mhm,
animated films. I'll give it. You have these friendly kind of designed characters that I'm just naturally drawn towards, and I
mhm,
think that's why I truly love mascot horror over any type of other horror game in general. They're just more fun to play in my opinion. Even though they've got those scary
mhm.
aspects to them, they're just still good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd before I mean, I guess, I could also talk about it later, but, with, like, kind of, like, Poppy Playtime before Poppy Playtime, like, I was really into Five Nights at Freddy's. I actually haven't played all the games, but I was, like I had the first game on my phone. I also had Slenderman on my phone, and I would, like, play those pretty often in, like, high school. But, yeah, I also really like the indie game, indie horror space, so
So do I. There's so much good stuff that's being developed right now.
mhm. Yeah.
So speaking of Miss Delight, actually, in the lore of Poppy Playtime, we discover that Miss Delight was a doll that was created to be a teacher and was easier to control. Tell me, how much information did Mob provide you when you were voicing this character?
Mhm. Well, it was a little interesting of a situation for me because not only was I a voice actor, for Poppy Playtime, but I I was actually also Poppy Playtime's main character concept artist from like the first game all the way up in for chapter 3. So I had been a part of Miss Delight's design process as well, and I also concepted for most of the characters in the game. So I mean, like, working in the office, I was already getting a whole lot more intel on her character, perhaps more than, like, a lot of the people who came in to Poppy Playtime as, like, just a voice actor,
Mhm.
where, like, I was sitting in meetings, like, kind of hearing about her before her concept came about as well. I don't I wasn't very aware of, like, everything in the ARGs, if that's what they're called, ARGs?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or yeah. So I don't even now, I don't know, like, the super nitty-gritty on, like, every character and, like, their backstories or anything like that, but at least, like, how the character played in, like, the bigger picture of, like, the whole story. I kind of knew that before going in and, trying out for Miss Delight.
That's really cool. So something I actually found interesting when playing Chapter 3 of Poppy, there's a videotape in Home Sweet Home for one of the kids named Samuel Lee, in which a character named Miss Brooks was talking about a character that was leaving with Dr. White.
Mhm.
The voice is very similar to Miss Delight's. Is there a connection there?
So there is no connection whatsoever. Miss Brooks just ended up being a character that I had also auditioned for. I auditioned for every female role plus Ollie, and I just happened to also get her role too. And then I know their voices are similar, but there's no connection. It was just the director's choice that I would play both characters,
Okay.
and they happen to have like similar mannerisms of being kind of like a teacher or like a counselor of some sort.
Okay. All right. Very, very good to know. So one
Mhm.
of my favorite characters you have voiced is actually Bobby Bearhug, who has very little
Mhm.
screen time other than through the cardboard cutout. The lines that were
Mhm.
delivered for Bobby really pulled on my heart and visibly made me emotional as I was streaming the game for the first time. I'm
Aw.
like I was crying.
Oh, no.
I
Aw,
really
man.
was. When you deliver that last line of "You won't leave me this time, will you?" I was just sinking into my chair, just crying.
Oh, no. Well, I'm happy that I was able that the character, hit home for you. I'm sorry I made you cry.
No, that's a good thing. Like if you're able to draw emotions out of people like that, you're doing your job right. But
Yeah.
I am curious to know what your take on Bobby Bearhug as a character is and what choices you made for the delivery of those lines.
So, I believe that all of the smiling critters, kind of have like a kind of like a base personality where it's like, you know, Hoppy Hopscotch the tomboy, Crafty's the shy artist, Dog Day is just kind of like smiles all around. And I believe like for Bobby Bearhug, again, like her thing is just love and care. And so her voice is also a little bit more towards my like normal voice, whereas like Crafty is like completely different
Mhm.
with like her very quiet voice. Whereas Bobby, I guess I just like when doing her voice, just having like an innocence to it, or like a purity to it. I guess it's a little hard for me to to fish an answer, but I guess just like love, love, love is kind of like what goes through my head when trying to do these lines for I guess I'm kind of getting a little stumbled and I'm not really making sense.
No, I think you're making sense. I think Amber and I talked about it, and the way she put it was, Bobby was more emotionally needy, and I think the aspect of the love, love, love really actually pushes that through.
Yeah. At least in like kind of the cartoon world, she just wants to see people get along. And
Mhm.
I'd say the same for Dog Day. And it's I do understand a few of the characters have like pretty similar kind of like base personalities about them. It's really weird because I think when doing like Bobby Bear Hug's cutout lines, I never really like thought about them too much, like exactly what I was saying. I'd have to go back and kind of remember the lines I delivered. But yeah, I guess just at least when doing her voice, just kind of having this pure and I still try to stay in my normal kind of little more mature range
Mhm.
perhaps. Kind of like keeping that range, I guess.
Okay. So take me back. Mob is just starting off and they're making the first chapter Poppy Playtime. What drew you to it and, made you go, I'm gonna, join this team and work on this.
So I was actually a part of the company, that made Poppy Playtime before Poppy Playtime was created. So it wasn't actually something more so like that I was drawn to. But again, those working in the company, including myself, like again, grew up on IPs like Five Nights at Freddy's and Slender Man. So making like everybody was already kind of interested in the indie horror space. So that is kind of what pushed forward the idea of Poppy Playtime. But before that, the company was making like YouTube content and it was around like Minecraft style, and it
Mhm.
was like around like Five Nights at Freddy's IP. Very like the majority of their videos. Did you say just like what drew you to it? I guess not much.
You were just kind of just already there and part of the team, so that you just got
Yeah.
kind of like dragged along.
Yeah. I mean, I was happily dragged along, but I was already a part of the projects before Poppy Playtime came about.
So, is there a chance that we could potentially see you return to the Poppy franchise in another role?
Yes, but I can't say any more
Okay,
than that.
that's perfectly fine. Um, that makes me excited to know. I'm looking forward to what's coming in the future. But, everyone's aware that Poppy Playtime's being made into a movie, which all of us partners in crime and the fans are just super excited for. If
Mhm.
asked, would you voice a character in the movie or would you want to, potentially appear physically in the movie?
Absolutely, positively for both. It would obviously be up for them if they like wanted to cast me, but I would be all in for it if they were interested.
I've been like, there's less chance of us partners ever getting into the movie, but I have been just very adamant of I would at least just love to go on set and just
Yeah, that would be a cool
experience.
opportunity.
It really would, like, because I remember watching when the first FNAF film came out, and they brought some of the content creators that were making a lot of FNAF content at the time onto set. They got to meet the animatronics, and
Mhm.
even got to hug some of them, which made me super jealous. But I was
Oh,
I just want that experience of just being able to go on set and just being like, I'm in the Playtime Co Factory right now, and I don't know what to do with myself.
yeah. It's like even if, like I might not return like as a voice or anything like in the movie, I think it'd be cool if like people who like either worked on the game, like developers or people in the partner in crime program. Like maybe we could be like a pool of extras in the movie or something. It'd be so cool.
Oh, it would be. I've been saying in every interview when I brought this question up that I would just be perfectly fine if they put my face on a flower pot. That's good. At least I'm there.
That'd be so funny.
So you might not be able to answer this, but chapter 4 is coming up fast. I'm curious as to what involvement you might have with this upcoming chapter.
hmm I could say what I can. So at the time chapter 3 was wrapping up for completion, I was already involved in like chapter 4 concepting, like concept art. And I was actually the 2D art lead for chapter 3 and kind of going into the beginning of chapter 4 as well. But after working, at the company for nearly 4 years, I did decide to make the decision to step out after chapter three's release to move over and work for Zamination full time, who also left the company not too long before my leave. So I was a part of the concepting process, a little bit of it, specifically one character in particular, but they have not shown up yet as of now, so I cannot name drop. But other than that, I do again, I my voice acting is still open to however they might want to use my voice acting. But my involvement in general will be less for this next chapter and then the next ones after.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. So, out of all the characters you have voiced, not just within Poppy but outside of Poppy, what has been your favorite line that just like lives rent free in your brain?
Hmm. Hmm. I guess it's not one line, more like a string of lines. But I guess like if I had to choose, there's like a few lines that I like quote in the house sometimes with just like my husband. And it's from chapter 2, Candy Cat's Cutout. So that was my very first voice acting for Poppy Playtime was Candy Cat's Cutout. And the lines are like if you click the button, Candy Cat says like feed me candy. And you go, hum nom nom, feed me more. And then all the way up to just the hum nom nom. I said more. And then the howl dying noise. I like kind of say that around the house pretty often.
I am so glad you said that because those are the lines I actually quote a lot too around the house. You can just hear me go, "Feed me candy," or just doing the nom nom really loud down in
Yep.
the kitchen.
Yeah. And I will say like Candy Cat, even though like I have done more roles at like, as of now, Candy Cat, like I was so excited to have my voice in a game when chapter 2 came out. And so I think that Candy Cat's role kind of holds a special place in my heart because of that,
Mm.
because Candy Cat was my first role. But yeah.
I have a friend that's gonna be really jealous that I'm getting to talk to you right now because their favorite character actually is Candy Cat. So when they
Oh.
get to hear this, they're just gonna be like, "Wait, what?"
Well, hello, person, whoever you may be.
So, as a fellow musician and singer, I love learning more about what someone might write a song about. If you could pick one of the characters that you have voiced to write or perform a song about, which character would you pick?
Kind of like a fan song or
Yeah,
something like that.
anything out of the
Um,
above.
well, I I think if I was going to make a song about a character, I would probably want to like perform the song as that character. So instead of like singing about the character, I'd want to sing as that character.
Hmm.
So I'd probably choose a character who's not that hard to sing in their voice. So like probably not Hoppy Hopscotch. maybe like maybe like Crafty Corn or something. I think that would be like a nice little lullaby song I could do with her or something.
I think that's a brilliant idea, and you should probably pursue that.
Yeah, perhaps. Sometimes I'm sure it's fine, but sometimes I'm just like not aware. Like it's not like I signed my voice away, but sometimes I'm like worried of like, oh, like, like how much can I do with, like my voice for a character just on my own platform? Like, I guess I just like shouldn't be making money off of it if it's of a certain character under a company. I'm not sure, but I'm like sometimes I'm worried of like, but if I what if I do something and then they're like, we're gonna sue you? I don't know.
I feel that and understand it. Maybe we can poke the legal team and ask.
Yeah, but I'd love to like, do more stuff as my character voices. I'm just not sure how that works, so I have just been trying to avoid it.
Understandable. So we were talking about examination just a little bit ago, but for those who are listening who might live under a rock and maybe don't know this, you are the sister of Micah and Zach, and it seems
Mhm.
like you and your brothers get along great as a family. How is it working with family, and do you all have a strong connection with one another?
It's a very interesting opportunity for sure. And I'd say we do have a very strong like shared vision on how we'd like our projects to be, to the point where like, if we're trying to create a certain shot, or maybe there's a scene that like has a character and we're trying to describe how this character needs to act. Sometimes like even just through like our own sound effects, we can like understand each other. Like, we need to make this character go, and we're like, ah, understandable. I know exactly what you mean. And then and then one of them will animate them in a way where they understood what that meant.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think we all from kind of like growing up with one another and kind of like watching the same things and kind of understanding, I guess, just the same vision, it is easier to work with each other.
That's really good to hear. My brother is also a musician, so there are times that we, even though I live in Texas and he's in Kentucky, we collaborate sometimes on some stuff because I can't play guitar at all, but he is a
Uh-huh.
master guitarist. I'm like, hey, can you just quickly just, put something together for me for this? And he's just like, all right. But like, it's really cool to know, like, be able to work with family like that in a way. Because you all, you grew up with each other, you understand each other, and you all kind of have an idea of what the vision
Yeah.
is. I think that
Hmm.
really translates in y'all's work.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks.
No problem.
Um,
So I do love your animation videos on YouTube. And the animation squad panel specifically, there was a moment that really stuck out to me. You spoke about having been to other panels in the past and not having someone sitting with you and feeling anxious about it. Do you deal with anxiety a lot? And what are some of the methods that you use to try and ground yourself in those situations?
Yeah, I still struggle with anxiety, and it's hard. But it takes, the form of, just anxiety in general, and then specifically like with social anxiety. Sometimes it feels like a lot of conversations are kind of like little battles within themselves, and I kind of wish it wasn't so hard to like sometimes just have a conversation with people. Like I stumble I like happen to stumble on my words a lot, and sometimes I don't want to say like the wrong thing that doesn't reflect what I might actually believe, or I just kind of don't want the other person to perceive me as weird perhaps. So I still struggle with it. But for me, I am a Christian. So as a Christian, like Jesus is, who I lean on for peace and guidance when I'm scared. So like a lot of my journey with dealing with anxiety and like, healing, it includes my relationship with Jesus in the picture.
I love that. I think that having faith is something definitely that someone can rely on in those situations to help them feel better. For me
Mhm.
personally, there was last year I was at a convention and I was just having a really bad anxiety day, but I had promised a friend who was performing at said convention that I would be
Mhm.
front row in the audience when they were about to go live, and I was there.
Mhm.
And at one point during the concert, they just stopped and they looked at me and they're like, "I see you, Tibbers." And I'm sitting there with I have the jumbo Huggy Wuggy plush and I brought it with me.
Oh.
I'm sitting there with it in my lap, and you just see me just sink down in the chair, just clutching the Huggy. I'm like, "Please don't look at me."
Oh.
But for me, like when I'm having those serious anxiety moments, having something like soft or a plushie. Usually,
Yeah.
I carry one around with me, and just because I am autistic as well, so it really just
Mhm.
helps calm me down. I don't know why, but it just does. It feels very reassuring, and I think even with faith, that does the same thing.
Mhm. Yeah, like right now, I don't know, like perhaps so far I've been a pretty good talker, but I definitely so Me and my husband just rented a new home. This is my first like rented home of mine, but I have a room that is called I called the Comfy Nook, and I just want it to be kind of just. I just bought this really green fluffy carpet that I'm sitting on right now. I have a blanket around me because yes, I was nervous coming in, and so I'm in my comfy room right now on my comfy rug with my a blanket wrapped around me.
I, I'm not even
um
joking. I have a big fluffy blanket wrapped around me right now too.
that's so funny.
Like
But
some people
yeah.
don't think that, even though, I like doing these interviews, I still get nervous doing them. I still get very anxious. I'm like,
Mhm.
what if they don't like the questions I'm asking? What if they don't like the conversation? Like there's so many things that's going through my head. So I appreciate the fact that, you're doing what is making you feel comfortable in this moment, that you have that,
Mhm.
comfort zone that you can go to. And I think most
Uh-huh.
people should look into doing that. When people,
Yeah.
ask me about, well, what's comfort look like for you, and I'm like, well, I work remotely 100%, so my room is my comfort zone. Like there's literally
Mhm.
plushies everywhere, and people are like, there's not plushies everywhere, and then I send them the pictures. I'm like, oh, you have a lot of stuffed animals. I'm like, yeah, I do.
Yes. I love stuffed animals, and I've always been like a stuffed animal girly more than a kind of a doll, like Barbie doll girly growing up. But I have a lot of stuffies here. I don't really know where to put them though. They're all kind of stuffed in my closet, and then some are just out throughout the house. But I don't have a good sense on like how to organize that yet.
Ooh, if you like, once we're done with this, I can send you some links. So what I did with mine is I have two hammocks that hang on the back of my doors. One on my closet door, one on or sorry, the
Hmm.
door to my room. And I have some plushies in either of those, but I also have like an actual like big hammock that's in the corner up on the ceiling that houses a
Hmm.
lot of them as well, because I like them being on
Okay.
display.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be open to see how I can organize
Yeah,
that.
I will send those over to you, see if that's something you're interested in.
Thank you.
No problem. Because you
Mhm.
have such close ties with Zaminations, I know there are some of their projects that you have been a part of or worked on. Can you tell us which ones you have contributed to?
Yeah. So I think the most things I've done for examination is I've done like a ton of layout. So like a lot of the like earlier Fazbear and Friend, they're like series Fazbear and Friends. They have like a few episodes, and then they have like a whole bunch of shorts. And I do realize a lot of them, are kind of like what are they called? Like content farm like.
Yeah.
But a lot of them were like very high quality still. Like they still came out really good, and at least like when there was a lot of attention like in earlier years, for them, even though there it was like, a lot of IPs coming together. It's like, this is ridiculous. There'd still be like a lot of funny jokes that land, and like I did have good time working on the shorts. But I did a ton of layout for that. I also did some voice work. So I'm the voice of Gregory.
Just watch!
What is that?
Power!
Move it, child!
Do you know who I am?
Yeah, you're.
Quite the spiffy gentleman. Oh, what in the world?
What in my world?
Oh, this is very bad.
I can do anything with this! Chica! Hello! Goodbye!
Gregory!
There's a security guard named Audrey.
Freeze! You're under arrest for attacking an endangered shark species!
Oh, shoot!
Pretty much any kid that comes up in their videos. And then the Doki Doki girls in their series, except Monica in the first short, and then I'm not Yuri in any of the shorts.
Okay.
Um and then after moving back to Zamination, so right now where I am, Zamination full time, I'm in a creative director position, and my first project I got to come back to was their Lethal Company music video named "Follow the Orders." I don't know if you've heard anything about it.
Oh, I've been waiting for it. I play that game a lot with my friends.
Yes, I love Lethal Company. But that video actually came out at the time we're recording this. This video came out this morning.
Oh, it's out
um,
today?
yeah, yeah. Um, so like this morning we you know that came out, and then an hour later we streamed a 2-hour Q&A, and that was really fun. And it was like, all of the developers of the video were there, kind of just like drawing on a big board and answering questions. But yeah, like that was such a cool project to work on. And for me, I did I was a part of the storyboarding process. I did concept art, mainly for the character crew, and then I did a little of animation too. I did one shot because I do want to do more 3D animation.
Mhm.
So they allowed me one shot, and the shot that I did was there. You'll see if you like look at the video later, you'll see like a shot of like a character bouncing up and down on a button, and that was mine.
I will be watching this right after this interview because I completely spaced and forgot that it was coming out today.
Yeah, it's on a Saturday. A lot of people are just chilling, relaxing, maybe not looking at YouTube first thing. I don't know.
But knowing that you just did that interview, or not rather the interview, but rather the Q&A sessions this morning, I definitely appreciate you meeting with me after all that. It really means a lot.
Yeah, I really enjoy this QA, but I know, after this, and then our company is doing like a little celebration, and we're actually all at like 5 p.m., which is actually the thing that I, was saying that I need to get to a little later. We're doing like a Lethal Company playthrough with everybody who worked on the video. Um,
Nice.
yeah, this Saturday's been pretty active afterwards. you know, I did really enjoy everything, but I'm also gonna enjoy relaxing afterwards.
I feel that. Um, I promise you we're almost through these questions, but
No, no, no worries, no worries.
I'm genuinely curious about your character Cosmic Cosmo. Can you give me a
Mhm.
background story about them and what inspired their creation?
Yeah. So at least like with making Cosmo, she didn't have much of a backstory to begin with. The first time I ever drew her was actually like a friend at the time was asking, like, how do you go about creating OCs? It's kind of funny that I was asked that because I actually do not have many OCs in general. I want to have more. I really envy when artists have kind of a bucket of OCs that I just don't really have that. But I wish I had more characters, and I want to make more stories. I just sometimes kind of struggle on like what do I write about? And it's weird. I really do like storyboarding, which is all about story, but I think I usually like it at the moment doing it for like other people's visions, but I don't know what my own vision is yet. But with Cosmo, she kind of just came about as an example of how to draw an OC. And then I was like, oh, I actually kind of like what I drew as an example. So I think I'm going to keep her. And I did start like writing a story around Cosmo. She's the only character I've ever written a story around that at least I can remember. And then I had another OC named Buzzkill, who's this like yellow alien that sometimes I pair them up with like each other in artworks.
Mhm.
But I think from there, like I don't think I'm gonna continue that right now with like writing for her. But knowing that I wasn't gonna use her anytime soon, I then decided to kind of like reuse her as kind of more like my internet face more than a character in a story. But even that like is going to change soon because with my name being changed from CosmicCosmo to Gibble Gabble, I'm actually creating a character for that username as well. So like kind of like my whole branding, I guess, is going to change. But she's still going to exist just as a character, but just not me.
I love that. I thought they were just watching them in those videos that you had on YouTube. They're very
Mhm.
endearing and they're very gentle, and I like gentle characters like that. So when I saw the animations and everything, I was like, I love them so much.
Aw, I'm glad you like her. I just I think at the moment I think I'm ready for a new face on the internet. I want something to change. So I think this is my change.
I love it. So during the process of setting up this interview, and you can blame Amber for this because I was trying to plan something with her and our. I have this little group on Saturdays where we call ourselves the Ban Ban Besties based off the Garden of Ban Ban series because a friend convinced me to actually sit down and play them and just kind of became like a thing.
Yeah.
They were letting me know that they were going to be watching anime with you one day. So I was curious to know what is your favorite anime, and if there is one that you could be part of and maybe voice a character, which one would that be?
Yeah. I love Amber. The anime we were watching, we still need we're still finishing. I kind of sometimes just forget. And then I'm like, I'm sorry, we gotta watch it now. We gotta finish. Which was Assassination Classroom. But yes, I love anime. I know it's not like everything is perfect about it, but my favorite one is My Hero Academia. I I love like the character design. I really like, at least in the beginning of the series, that everything was like very like comic like.
Mhm.
Like if a character would crash into a desk, you'd literally see the word boom. Like, and I thought like just like visually everything's really cool. The music is super, super good. I love the music. The fight scenes are really fun. And I think my answer would probably like be the same on like if I was to voice a character from an anime, I'd probably just pick my favorite so I could be like, I'm in the anime, that's my favorite. But yeah, so both answers would be My Hero Academia.
Which is a good one. I love My Hero Academia. It's a really good anime, and if for those who are listening who haven't seen it, you should just go watch a few episodes because it's really good.
Yeah. It's actually funny because even though it's my favorite, My Hero Academia was one that I kind of had to like return to after watching it like at one or two episodes the first time. It was after I decided to take a gap year from Bible college, where I kind of just started watching a whole bunch of different anime. And My Hero was one, and I actually didn't get past the first episode at first. And then I went back and I rewatched, and I'm like, I don't know why I ever skipped out on My Hero. What was I thinking? Because My Hero was awesome.
It really is. I think for me, as a big anime fan, my number one will always be Digimon. I'm a huge Digimon fan,
Uh-huh.
and just like I think a year ago, I had the amazing opportunity of someone happened to be my Twitch stream, messaged me afterwards and was
Mhm.
like, "Hey, have you ever thought about voice acting?" And next thing I know, I'm just doing background voices for two different animes. And I was like, once they sent me the DVDs, I was like, "Oh my god, this is real!" And just having that moment of being like, I've achieved at least one thing on my bucket list, which was being
Yeah.
in an anime. It meant a lot to me. So I'm
Oh,
manifesting that for you as well.
what anime was it?
So these are both. I'm not gonna lie, they're both mature titles. But I
Okay.
was in them with. Hold on, I have to remember the names. Elsie Lovelock was in one, as well as Nola Klopp, and then Michael
Mhm.
Kovac was in the other one. But Caressing My
Oh,
Hibernating Bear and Showtime 2 were the two that I got asked to audition for.
that's so cool. I guess like, maybe for another time. I'm curious how kind of, that process went with I guess auditioning or whether or you said you were like recommended for.
Yeah, the casting director just happened to be in my Twitch stream. I don't. It was just one of those moments where the stars aligned.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, sometimes it'd be like that, where it's like, sometimes it's not just about networking, but sometimes it really is like the director of a project will just like, have like you'll have connections or someone will know you and it just, yeah, everything just happens the way it happens.
And it's amazing when those moments do happen. That's what really gives me faith in the world.
Yeah. I would like the opportunity at some point to be in an anime. I think that'd be super cool.
It'll happen. It'll happen. So I find that you can really learn about a lot about a person based on what they like. So I'd like to do a quick, rapid Q&A session. I'll just, give you a question, you just quickly answer to it. And there's not many of these, but it'll be fun. So starting off,
Yeah.
what's your favorite song?
Okay. I think it's called I Hear a Symphony. I don't remember who it's sung by, but it's so beautiful and I love it.
Favorite music artist or band?
Uh, I feel like the way I listen to music is not usually like listening to a one artist. It's usually like one song from an artist, another song from another artist. I guess Living Tombstone.
Good choice. Good choice. Favorite video game?
Oh no. First thing that comes to mind is Undertale. I think it has a good place in my heart.
Favorite movie?
Megamind, maybe.
Favorite TV show?
Oh, you know, I don't even know if I'd say this is my favorite, but Wander Over Yonder was highly underrated when it was out.
Favorite activity?
Hmm. Um. Oh, well, okay. I love playing sorry, I'll make it short. I love playing board games and card games. Those are like my favorite things ever. I love games.
Favorite vacation spot?
Mm, my house.
There's nothing wrong with that answer. And then favorite food?
It's gotta be anything noodles or rice. So like chow mein or lo mein, and then like, like maybe perhaps sushi, which includes rice as well.
Okay, we're gonna be best friends. I literally just had a big bowl of like actual traditional style ramen before this. My stomach was feeling a little weird this morning, so I'm like, I just need some soup. Ramen normally does the trick. So I'm very much a
Hmm.
rice and noodle person as well. But you have
Yes.
survived the rapid Q&A. Now everyone knows the potential password hint.
I'm sorry, I was very slow with it for
No,
it
no,
being
no.
a repetition.
I think it's good to, it's fun to do it quickly, but also just give an opportunity for people to think. So you're
Uh-huh.
perfectly fine. So we are down to our final two questions. If you
Hmm.
could go back in time and have a chat with little Avalon, what would you tell yourself to prepare for the future?
Oh boy. That is a hefty, I feel like emotional question. Ah, again, I think, overall, before being a voice actor, animator, or traditional artist, I am a follower of Christ. So I'd have to say that, like things get hard, things get confusing, but there is hope and there is light at the end of the tunnel. So to just continue to lean on Christ and really get to understand him, and he will protect you, I think would be it.
I think that's a good thing to say to yourself. Um,
Mhm.
do you have any advice to anyone listening who is wanting to be a voice over artist or an animator or conceptual artist?
Mhm. Well, I think for me, something I'd get stuck with a lot is I would always want to make big stories or make like a big entrance and like and I know like a lot of people kind of have the same struggle too, where they might be starting just in general, like maybe writing a big story and then they never finish it because it's so big and it's their first one. So I guess with anything, like even if you are a big dreamer, start with little things and little opportunities and little projects and really cherish your journey along the way and the connections of people that you make along the way as well, I think would be my advice.
That's really good sound advice. It really is.
Mm.
All right, Avalon, thank you so much for joining me today. Can you let everyone know out there who's listening where they can find you? I know you're going to be changing your name soon, but just let us know now. And then, of course, when that updates, I'll make sure the description is updated as well.
Yeah. Okay. At the moment, you can find me on Twitter as CosmicCosmo YT as my handle, but I will be changing it to Gibble Gabble or something, similar. Maybe the username's taken. But I'm also, I do work for Zamination, so you'll find me popping up there as well. And I have my YouTube channel, I just haven't posted on it as much recently.
Well, Avalon, thank you so much for meeting with me. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a blessed holiday season. And again, thank you for sitting down to do this interview. It means a lot. I would like to schedule a follow up one once Chapter 4 releases just to talk about what you did in that chapter, if that would be okay.
Yeah, I'd be interested in it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you take care now, and I'll talk to you soon.
You too. See you later.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for stopping by, everybody. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and share it with your friends. You can also leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought, and also let us know if there's anyone else you'd like us to interview. Also, please make sure you subscribe for more content. We've got new content coming out every week. But until next time, everybody, stay safe out there, make good choices, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.